Welcome to the COVID fatality epicentre of Australia. Victoria's got 26% of Victoria's population and 54% of Australian COVID deaths. And here's the gentleman who bangs on about climate change, heading off in the chauffeur-driven limo. I presume having flown into Melbourne for this and or other events, and presumably flying out of Melbourne. So the chauffeur-driven limo, while the rest of us can reduce our carbon footprint all we want, and it won't matter a toss, because people like Albo are swanning around the country on CO2 belching aircraft and swanning around the cities in CO2 belching limos, chauffeur-driven limos. I marvel at the rank hypocrisy of these people. If I'd had slightly more time, I would have asked Albo the burning question, given that Australia and the rest of the world has been living with the COVID pandemic for 2 years now, 2 years plus, whether Albo, the thought has crossed Albo's mind that who knows, the pandemic may have been a biological warfare attack on the rest of the world by the Xi Jinping regime. I note, amongst other intriguing circumstances, that whilst Australia's COVID fatalities per million of population stands at about 140, China's COVID deaths, stated COVID deaths per million population, stands currently at 3, which suggests to me several possibilities. One of which is that the Chinese official statistics are simply lies. Another possible scenario is that the stats are true, and maybe they reflect the fact that the Xi Jinping regime saw the pandemic coming and made sure that their population was appropriately vaccinated. Maybe there are other possibilities as well. Maybe we'll eventually find out. I do marvel, amongst other issues, at the fact that about 400,000 Americans died of COVID during the Trump presidency, essentially in 2020. Now, under Biden's enlightened, or Brandon's enlightened policies, about 500,000 Americans have died. But the bottom line for me is that all 900,000 Americans died of COVID whilst Anthony Fauci was running the US federal government's response to the COVID pandemic. So if anyone should bear responsibility and resign or be sacked, in my opinion, it's Dr. Anthony Science Fauci. Bill Thompson for Outside Insight.